It is a little goofy. Like sometimes you're trying to look at, like I'm trying to look at you and there's a kid like with a phone right between us. And that's a little weird. But the other element is like because of TikTok and Instagram and stuff now, it's like that stuff does so much promo and PR for you that it's like it's kind of great.
Crying out loud, your heart is a maze. You burn in your mouth, but I'm singing it out.
So Finneas, welcome in Amsterdam.
Nice to be here.
You're a huge Nirvana fan as well, and they did a big show here as well.
Oh, dude, you're totally right. Yeah, and they did that whole period of time. That was like during the period where Nevermind was taking over the U.S.
Exactly.
But it wasn't. They booked, like you book all these shows way in advance, right? Like I booked the Paradiso like 6 months ago. So imagine if I'd just put out Nevermind and then I was like still booked to play the Paradiso, right? They could play an arena, they could play the Ziggo Dome.
So you're playing the Paradiso tonight, you're doing your own headline tour now around Europe.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see you do this because you're so productive. With all the records you're producing, you're touring around the world now.
Yeah.
Where do you find the time to make a record like this?
Well, this album, I mean, you kind of touched on why I made this album the way that I made this album. I made it with a room full of my friends, all kind of working at the same time, and that saves me a lot of time. If I'm sitting in a room alone for months making a record, I'll spend 2 whole days working on the drum part of a song and then the bass part and the keys and the harmonies and the guitar part. And if I have a room with 6 people in it and the guitarist working on his guitar part and Lucy's playing keys and singing harmony, like everything's kind of happening in like real time.
Yeah.
It's like they're just building a house alone and having a crew of people. So that saved me a lot of time. I made all of For Crying Out Loud in I think 14 sessions, like 14 days
quick.
total. Yeah, it was really quick. Yeah, it was really fast. So that's part of the reason I'm able to do it.
Did you figure me out? Who's the mystery now?
What was the hardest part of making this record?
There's a song called Sweet Cherries, and that song was a jam. We were just jamming on chords and melodies for like 7 hours or something, and they were great, but I didn't have any good lyric ideas. And so then I had to go home later and take the 7-hour file and like cut it up into pieces and then string it all together and then write lyrics over it. So that took a couple days.
This feels like I'm watching Let It Be from the Beatles, the documentary.
It is. I mean, Let It Be, the Beatles documentary, was kind of a tough watch for me because I just love and respect them so much, and I love that album so much, and like I just was like, oh, I don't know that I'd want people to see me bickering.
Everything you and Billie are doing feels like it's the Beatles all over, because especially people are waiting for you for hours to get in. With Billie at the Ziggo Dome, it's the same. They were queuing for 2 days. Does it feel like it's your mania now?
Oh man, I mean, I don't think anybody has ever come close to the Beatles. I think the world was a much smaller place at the time. I think that they were inventing, almost literally inventing a genre of music, and I think the birth of fandom kind of started with them. Yeah. I think like on one hand you want it to be exciting and you want it to be crazy. On the other hand, like, you know, being in any group of people can be a challenging experience. Kids can faint, kids can get smushed in the barricade and whatever else. So we try to be very careful about you know, the kind of environment we're putting on. I'm not trying to like rile up an audience in a dangerous way. And then, you know, the other element, which is a separate note, but I think about a lot, is like the phones thing. Yeah. And like, it's funny because it is a little goofy. Like sometimes you're trying to look at, like I'm trying to look at you and there's a kid like with a phone right between us. And that's a little weird. But the other element is like, because of TikTok and Instagram and stuff now, it's like, that stuff does so much promo and PR for you that it's like it's kind of great. You got some bangers as well, because the album Closer is great. And thank you. The question in the song is, do you know me by now? And yeah, have you figured me out? Yeah. Do you think people know you after listening to this record? You know, I don't know. I feel like I'm much less interested in being seen by people listening to my albums and much more interested in them feeling like they're, inner dialogue is being articulated. Whenever somebody asks me what a lyric means and I explain it to them, they like look disappointed and they're like, well, to me what it meant, and so now I just don't explain.
Enjoy your show in Paradiso tonight. Maybe you'll feel like Kurt Cobain tonight because this is the rock and roll Nirvana venue.
That's very cool. I mean, listen, you know, I'm always like, you walk around backstage at these venues and you see great shows that have taken place here, and you know, some of these venues I got to play years ago with Billy, and all that is like, that's so cool, so exciting.
Enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Cry